Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Kim Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. So I wanted to, I'm a little late in getting this out. I'm currently dirty dancing with Corona V, so everything is a little bit delayed right now. October videos will be coming hopefully before October 1st, but that remains to be seen. So they are on the way. But I wanted to take, even though it's late coming out, I wanted to take a few moments to just do a highlight reel of this illumination that's occurring on 9/25, September 25th, the new moon, because, this is just going to be an overview forecast, but I think it's a really important illumination. And so I wanted to make sure I at least got something out. With that being said, I do want to mention that ongoing, I think what I'm going to do is in the monthly forecast, so like in the October forecast, I will cover for each life path the illuminations as well as the monthly forecast. So you'll sort of have everything in one spot. And then these new moon and full moon illumination forecast will just be like an overview of the energies that we're working with. So I'm not going to break them down for each individual life path number. You can find those in the monthly forecasts. So with that being said, like I said, I just wanted to kind of come on here and just give a quick overview of the energies, because I do think this is a really important illumination, and I didn't want to sort of let it go by without at least talking about the numerology that we could all be feeling. This, of course, is a general forecast. So if you want a personalized reading and you want to know how these energies are going to affect you personally, book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. We can take a look at your own personal numerology, your cycles, your forecast, and dig a little bit deeper. Okay, so let's go ahead and just take a quick look at this illumination. Again, this is occurring on September 25th, 2022. It's a new moon. During this cycle, for probably upwards of about 2 weeks or so, we will be heavily feeling the influences of both the 7 energy and that of the 22/4. So what's interesting with this is I'm really drawn to the 22 energy. So that's double twos, which is very much signifying like relationships, coming together, mending relationships, basically anything in the relationship sphere. And this is not just those personal relationships. This is interacting with others on any level. And so I do think that this is going to be sort of the key aspect of this illumination, which totally makes sense because it's aligned with astrology, which is this illumination is falling in the sign of Libra. So again, relationships, balance, that sort of thing. So the 22/4 energy can indicate the need for some foundational work when it comes to, again, relationships or how we relate with others. This energy will ask us to take accountability for what is ours and to work to fix it, as well as release those burdens that are not ours to carry in relationships. This is really important. This is not a quick fix energy, okay? 22/4 energy is not fast moving. It's very slow moving. It allows us to take our time to do the work, to dig deeper, to see what's really going on within a relationship or within, again, how we show up to relationships, how we relate to others, and see how we can make our own adjustments so that we can have a better experience. Of course, we don't have any influence or say over how another person shows up to a situation, of course. But we absolutely are in control of how we show up to a relationship, how we interact. And so if we're constantly getting the same results in relationships, we need to take a closer look at, one, what kind of relationships do we continue to call in and show up for? And are they healthy? And two, those relationships that we are showing up to, are we happy with how we're doing that, right? Like, do we feel good about how we are showing up to those relationships? if we're not, then this energy is really going to ask us to start that process of rectifying, right? Like finding ways to do better, which doesn't happen overnight. But again, it also takes into account what's yours to sort of fix or, mend or change, and what is somebody else's, and release what is not yours, but take accountability for what is yours. So this is, again, not a quick fix energy. It's going to basically point out where there are cracks in the foundation with our relationships. And we, again, need to take the time and put in the effort to mend what needs mending, to build what needs building, and to release what needs releasing. Relationships that have sort of served their purpose, or the contract has been fulfilled, or maybe a karmic debt has been paid, you may see those fall away now. Once we sort of release the grip. So if there's like a relationship that you've been just sort of really clinging to because it feels safe, or it feels, again, like known, this could be a time where that sort of falls away. So because honestly, with this energy, sort of holding on will become way more uncomfortable than the actual releasing. So it just kind of, the universe is working with us at this point to be like, yeah, this isn't for you anymore. You need to release it again. And so clinging to it just becomes even more uncomfortable than it would be to release it under this energy. So this could be a time where you do see some relationships that have served their sort of reach their expiration date, so to speak. You could see those fall away at this time. The energy is working with us to clear space for interactions, soul groups, and individuals that are much more aligned with the foundation that we're trying to build and the direction that we want to be moving towards. And so as the saying goes, it takes two. So relationships only work or fail because of balance or lack thereof. And each person holds some responsibility in both occurrences. So this 22-4 energy, again, will ask us to take responsibility for our share and then take action accordingly. So this isn't victim mentality energy. This is going to take, again, it's going to sort of force us to take responsibility for our actions, for how we're showing up to relationships, for the relationships that we continue to entertain, right? Especially when they're not good for us. And ask ourselves, why are we entertaining these relationships? Why are we keep showing up to these particular relationships when they're not healthy, when they're not reciprocated, when they're not, when they only work if we're giving 100% and the other person is giving 20%. Do you know what I mean? So those could all come into the spotlight at this time. Good things can also come into play as well, obviously, and can be highlighted. So this can be a time when things are, relationships are taken to the next level, or friendships become more than friends. You meet the love of your life. All those things, of course, can come under this illumination as well. Relationships that you've been working really hard at can really kind of come to sort of fruition in a beautiful way and kind of blossom into something much more elevated. So that's beautiful as well under the 22-4 energy. So keep that in mind as well. It's not just about like the work that has to be done or, the releasing and all of that. It has this other beautiful component as well. It's like the relationships that are working or the relationships that we've been working on can really kind of, again, just level up in a really beautiful way. And so this is the whole sort of, it just takes everything into account, which is really incredibly beautiful. So I would say see this as an opportunity for new starts and new insights into this more personal area when it comes to relationships. So even though it's like the whole relationship sphere, like it can be, again, like colleagues, friends, family, romantic partnerships, you name it. Anything, again, where it's more than just self and we are relating to others. It's sort of in the spotlight now. And so but it's still personal, right? Because it has an effect on us in some way. That includes client relationships, right? So like if you own your own business and you're getting new clients, or you're working with your clients, you may find new ways to work with your clients. You may take new things into consideration that maybe you don't want to do, but that your clients need. And so you can offer that in a more holistic way type thing. So a lot of these things can come into, again, the forefront now to be taken into consideration and to be worked on, right? So again, let's see, what do I want to say here? Yeah, so relationships with too many obstacles or fault lines could crumble now, right? So things where it's kind of like you've been putting the Band-Aids on it, you've been trying to make it work, you've been kind of sealing those cracks, but not really working through them or building a strong foundation, those could easily crumble now. And that's sort of like divine intervention, where it's like, okay, it's time for this to end so a new one can come in that's much more aligned. That's very possible at this time. Or again, it could be like, this is where the fault lines are. This is the work that needs to be done. And now it's up to you to take the accountability and take the initiative and start working on them so that you can have a solid foundation in these relationships. It's no more about like, the other person isn't doing this or the other person has done this. It's, what am I doing? Like, what is my responsibility in this? That's the 22-4 energy that's going to ask you to really focus on that and then take responsibility for it. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. That's showing you something as well, right? That it's just not in the cards right now. Or maybe it won't be in the cards. But you have the responsibility to do your share, do your part, right? Let's see. So yeah, the 22-4 will shine light and sort of make us become aware of what we have been avoiding when it comes to the reality of a situation. And it will sort of micromanage us until the issues are resolved. So whether, again, it's like we build something healthier or the situation falls away. So whatever that means for you. With the added kick of the 7 energy, again, we're being asked to be very honest with ourselves. There's a stark truth that comes in with 7 energy. 7s are the truth seekers. They're not going to take something at face value, typically, right? They're going to dig deeper. They're going to get to the truth of the matter. They want to know, like, they want to understand a situation. They want to understand what's going on so that they can kind of get on board type thing. That's sort of that energy. And so when we see 7 cycles, a big part of that is truth coming to the surface, right? So things that we maybe have been trying to avoid or we've been maybe disillusioned about, the 7 energy is going to ask us to be very honest with ourselves to the point where it's like, it's going to become so clear, whatever this is, you can't really lie to yourself about it anymore. I mean, you could, but it would be, you know what I'm saying? It's like once you know something, you know it. And so with this 7 energy, there's just a very honest element that comes through to get to the truth of the matter. So we need to be very honest with ourselves about, what we want and what we are settling for. Because once you know the truth of something, you can't not know it. So it needs to be dealt with at that point in some way. And so this 7 energy is going to ask us to do that. So if you don't know what you want, then this is a very intuitive energy that will help to sort of get in touch with that and to dig deeper so that where you move towards feels more authentic for you, not someone else. So it's like if we have been entering into or releasing relationships because of other people or other people's expectations or other people's belief systems or whatever, or other people's expectations of who we should be or who we should love or whatever, this energy is going to make it very difficult to continue to do that. There's an authenticity to this and a truthfulness to this energy that's going to be like, this is what you want, so why are you denying yourself it? You know what I mean? Like, why are you not going after what it is that you actually want, that would make you happy or that you think would make you happy, right? Because if it's not what's for you, trust me, the universe will put a million barricades in your way so that you can't get to it. So, or you'll get to it and you'll learn some pretty heavy lessons from it, which is fine too. But there's definitely something here about if we're not being authentic and going after what it is that we want, especially when it comes to relationships. Relationships are such a big part of this experience, right? It's like, 90% of this experience on earth is relationships, relating to other people, relating to other living beings, relating to self, relating to whatever. And so if we're not doing that in an authentic way, we're not living authentically, right? Like we're not having a true experience on this planet. And so anyway, this 7 energy is going to be sort of the taskmaster with that, to be like, deep down what it is that feels true for you, what it is that you want. And if you're catering to other people's desires or wants or expectations of you, that's going to get very difficult to continue to move through. Let's see. So both the 7 and the 4 can be very practical energies. Again, honest and highly intuitive energies, because the 4 is very intuitive energy as well. And so again, it's going to be really hard under both of these energies to sort of bullshit yourself or others, right? When these energies are at play. So anything that doesn't feel aligned or authentic under this illumination just won't hold up, just will not hold up. Now, it might not just fall apart, on the 20, whatever, what did I say, the 25th on the illumination. It might not, you might not see it all crumble or whatever, or level up, right? Depending on what the situation is. But over the next several months, you may see that really come into play. But I think that things are going to come into very stark, just a lot of clarity, right? I think we're just going to get a lot of clarity around where it is that we've been kidding ourselves around relationships, or how we relate, or how we're showing up to relationships. And some of it might be a hard pill to swallow, like, oh shit, I've been showing up in this way, or I've been contributing in this way. Damn, let me take some responsibility for this and make adjustments, right? Either in that relationship that has fallen apart or that's not working, or in the next relationship, right? Like, so these are teaching moments. Like 22/4 energy is master teacher, right? Like master spiritual teaching energy. It's the master builder, right? But it's also like the master teacher. And so it's going to teach us or show us where it is that we can do better. And then we need to do better. Once we know better, we do better, right? Or we should. So anything that's really not working, it just won't hold up under this. And I think about, 2020 was a 4 universal cycle, and you can kind of like, that's like the best sort of way to kind of showcase 4 energy when it's tearing down foundations. Things that aren't working will crumble. And that's sort of like with this, it's kind of like that with with like relationships or things that aren't in balance. It doesn't have to be relationships, but relationships are just such, under such a big umbrella, that they kind of encompass everything. Like they kind of bleed into everything. And so, so where there is foundations that are falling, they just won't hold up. Or again, will be shown where it is that we need to do the work. So again, we're being asked to be very honest about what we want and how we show up when it comes to the area of relationships. So this is, or again, things that are out of balance for us, or things that are in balance and that we want to continue to build upon, right? Those can be highlighted as well at this time. And that's important to understand, because something that is working, if we focus on that and continue to build upon that and we enjoy that, that's worth our energy, right? That's worth our focus. And so that's important to recognize as well. So just see this illumination as an opportunity for major course correction if it's needed, right? or an opportunity to strengthen a relationship that feels true for you, right? So it's like if there's a relationship that feels true for you in your gut, in your heart, in your soul, and you've been running from it for some reason, this is an opportunity to kind of revisit that and see, can I approach this differently? Can I do this differently to get a different result? Because I feel, even though the external is showing me otherwise, I feel that there's more to this that needs further investigation. And so that can come to light as well. And so again, as sort of closing statements, I would say responsibility and accountability are going to be the key words under this illumination, and taking action accordingly. So again, it's no longer passing the buck or blaming other people for the situation or the relationship that you find yourself in. At some point, you have to make decisions. You have to potentially change how you're showing up to relationships, how it is that you're setting boundaries and you're holding boundaries, and how it is that you're communicating those boundaries, right? God, communication has just become such a rare art form. I swear. It's like we've become a society where it's just so much easier to be like, all right, I'm just going to block you, or I'm just going to like avoid you, and not deal with this and just let it fall away than to actually communicate. It's just really interesting to me. I don't know. But anyway, so, I mean, it's just across the board through society. And I think it's just because we have so much information overload with, you know, social media and all of that. And so it becomes really difficult to, you know, face our feelings, deal with those feelings, communicate those feelings, and work through them, regardless of what the outcome may be. So I think that this energy is just really going to ask us to get back to the again, authenticity and the integrity behind how we relate to people. Because I think that we're all dropping the ball. At least in the Western, you know, civilizations, we're definitely dropping the ball when it comes to relating to other people. And again, it's not just about romantic relationships, it's across the board. I think we can do better. And I think that this energy is going to show us how we can do better. And we're all sort of, we could all sort of take the time to sort of read this chapter and learn something from it, I think. So, all right. So that is, what I've got for you for this illumination. I hope this is helpful. Yeah. So stay tuned. I will have those October videos out for you all soon, I hope. Okay. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.